This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. Good morning and welcome to the Pro Show Wednesday as we get together once again. Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti. And we will have a couple special guests joining us shortly. We'll get a chance to talk National Hockey League. We haven't done that in a long time with Victoria Matiash, who is with ESPN.com, the NHL writer. Boy, it's been a long time since we've chatted with her, Nick. And then Tyler Kimzey, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets, will be joining us in the next hour, talking about the upcoming East Regionals for Class 2A, where his Hornets are number one.
The tentative East Regional, where, again, it seems like it's still on, especially 1A, 2A basketball tournaments are anticipated to continue this week. But, again, it's more so of, again, will officials make it to these game sites? Again, a lot of, at least, questions right now, especially with the weather conditions here in the state of Wyoming and the blizzard and winter storm that has come through the state. So, again, we shall see. But, again, here in a few short minutes, we'll talk with Victoria. Again, it's been about a couple of years since we, again, went to our previous format, again, of just kind of local only, again, adding this additional show today for the Pro Show. It's something that we'll get into, again, NHL trade talks or trade rumors, especially with some big names on the market. See if the Avs are, again, a team that will be buying at this point. An Avs team that is kind of a little up and down, inconsistent. Again, they're still playoff bound, but it's not the same Avs team as what we saw last season win the Stanley Cup. Get her thoughts on if this team can repeat as Stanley Cup champions. But, yeah, again, there's a lot of movement going on right now. Trade deadline a few weeks away in the NHL ranks. Again, games, I think we're about 3/4 of the season through. Again, still about 18, 19 some odd games for most teams remain on the schedule. So it's coming down to the wire for the playoffs. Again, Avs right now stand in a decent wild card spot. I don't think they're going to take over the Central Division anytime soon from the Dallas Stars. But, again, in a good position right now to be one of the wild card teams. But it's a situation for the Avs that they're in a tough Western Conference where Vegas, Seattle, Los Angeles, you look at Dallas, you look at, again, there's some quality teams that the Avs have to get over, especially in the conference action, to at least make it to that Stanley Cup final once again.
All right, we'll talk more with Victoria coming in a few minutes. You brought it up, and matter of fact, I know I have a big mug. Friends of mine went to Lake Placid back in 1980. Hard to believe. 43 years ago on the Miracle on Ice. Al Michaels on the call prior to that game where the U.S. defeated Russia, and then they went on to defeat Finland to capture Olympic gold. The late Herb Brooks, head coach. Again, if you've seen the movie Miracle on, or is it Miracle?
Miracle.
Yeah, with,
Kurt
Russell. Yeah, thank you. He plays Herb Brooks, and again, a pretty good depiction of how that team formed, how it played together, and how it won U.S. gold. We all were just glued to our sets. Obviously, you weren't around at the time, Nick, but gosh, what a sensational feeling that was to watch them go to the gold medal. Mike Uzzaroni, who was the captain of that team, getting everybody up there on the medal stand, and it was just an unbelievable sight. And then you look at some of the guys that from that 1980 team went on to be great NHL stars. Jim Craig had an up and down career as a goalie. He got to go to Boston and net mine for the Bruins. Kenny Morrow. I know he was with the New York Islanders. Islanders at that time in the 80s were pretty good,
yeah.
Where he got a couple of Stanley Cup rings, if I'm not mistaken. Neil Broughton back then with the old Minnesota North Stars. Again, these guys from that 1980 gold, a lot of these guys went on to become good National Hockey League players, and again came away with hardware
again,
in the NHL.
Collegiate athletes that, again, were a part of this kind of quote-unquote, again, is it a dream team? It's nothing compared to, again, what the NBA dream teams of the 90s, again, competing for that Olympic gold, but it was something that had a feeling that they were all NHL bound and have some sort of successful career. But, yeah, again, it's something that you don't really think of that team more so of winning the gold. It was more so of, in the heightened portion of the Cold War, it was something of, Russia was this unbeatable force, and it kind of seems, I wouldn't say kind of, again, Canada is kind of that team, but again, we don't have that rivalry compared to, again, USA and Russia that has been ongoing for however many decades at this point in time, or at least then the Soviet Union. But, it's something that this powerhouse that no one could defeat. They were defeating opponents left and right, again, and just embarrassing opponents. Heavy favorites in that game. It was something that's the more memorable moment, was not so much winning the gold for Team USA. It was more so of, again, defeating and upsetting the Soviet Union that were heavy favorites and beating them, again, on quote-unquote home ice in New York. So,
well, it's interesting, too, because, again, this goes back obviously way before your time, Nick, but the USA team was collegiate athletes, okay? The Russians were professionals.
Yeah.
The Finns were professionals. And again, after...
Which is how things are operated now.
Exactly. You'll see a lot of guys from the NHL will go play for their homeland teams. But it's interesting. This is the last collegiate, pure collegians that won the hockey gold. After that, and then again, I would say probably the mid-'80s, where they started allowing the NHL players to go on to their various countries and play. But this was a very important gold medal, and you're absolutely right. 1980 was, tensions all across the U.S. We were also mired in economic times similar to what we are right now. But, the Al Michaels call, do you believe in miracles? Yes. It brought a sense of patriotism to this country just by what these young men did. And again, these are guys that were in their early 20s, and they brought the country. They brought us all together. It was better than the Super Bowl, to be real honest.
Can you capture anything like that nowadays, especially regarding the Olympics?
Really.
Not really. Again, it's something where, again, Russia, as of right now on the hockey, again, they're still very talented, but they're not up to par with, again, where Team USA is, or, again, as I mentioned, Team Canada. It's something that, again, there is a rivalry growing between us and our border, at least the bordering country of Canada, without a doubt. But it's not it's not a intense rivalry compared to, again, what was, again, at the height of the Cold War, again, our fear of the Soviet Union, again, all those tension moments with the Soviet Union. It's something that, again, can a USA team, whether it is Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, ever pull off something like that and kind of unify a country again? I don't see it. The best example possibly where that could be is probably men's soccer on the World Cup stage. If your Team USA was a lot better in that, where, again, you could rally around something like that. But, again, that was, I wouldn't say a flash of the pan, but it's something that here and now in the 2020s, again, moving forward, I don't think you could ever replicate, again, what that storyline was, or, again, how intense, how patriotic moment that was for the country, without a doubt.
It's interesting, too. You think back, me personally, in the 1980 Olympics, I was not a big viewer. Yeah, I would catch a few highlights, but again, you watch downhill skiing, you watch the luge, you watch the bobsled, where you had Switzerland, the top teams. USA, again, the hockey team, we really didn't capture our eye. We tied Sweden in our first game 2-2. Then we went on to beat Czechoslovakia. Then we beat Norway. But when we started tuning in was when we got past Romania in pool play, and then we beat West Germany. That was back then when East Germany and West Germany were still in effect. Once we beat West Germany, all of a sudden the eyes started turning to the hockey. And then guess who was up next? Russia.
Yeah.
And then we beat the Russians. And it's kind of ironic, too, because the Soviet Union, when we beat the Soviet Union, it was almost like that was the gold medal game.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And then we had Finland for the gold medal, and it was kind of ironic, and not so much that Team USA came out flat. The Finns said, hey, before you go to the medal stand, we got something to say. And that was quite a game. I think that was quite a game, and when that final horn sounded, I know me personally, and back then I was about, 20, 23 years old, I could feel that lump in my throat when that final horn sounded, because I was like, hey, I'm just, fresh out of college, and, I'm working for a living, and to watch the accomplishment of these young men, and again, I know the drill back then. I was into the politics, so I know that Russia was professionals, and Finland was professionals, and Czechoslovakia, and I'm thinking, gosh, amateurs captured a gold medal, and that was what the Olympics was all about, and that's what I grew up with, amateurs winning gold medals, and again, track and field, everything.
It's kind of interesting to think back in the 1980s. Granted, again, technology helps out in many ways here, in big ways, especially in this day and age. But again, viewership, or at least Americans cheering on or watching, getting into hockey for those moments, for again that big contest against the Soviet Union. Where compared to now, where again you have NHL that is expanding, NHL that is now becoming kind of a global brand. Again, it's still a step behind NFL, still behind the NBA without a doubt, but it's something that, again, it does have that global outreach. You kind of wonder right now, again, are we at that point that more Americans are invested in NHL hockey than in the 1980s for that Olympic run of Team USA? Again, it's kind of an interesting thought to behold, where you got to imagine right now, again, the state of the NHL, it's one of the more brighter spots of the four sports that, again, there's positive momentum, that viewership is growing, that, again, it's something where, and I give credit to the NHL, and again, I'm wearing one as an example, is kind of going back to the old school, to, again, looking back to the heritage with the reverse retro jerseys, or, again, looking back to its past, bringing it to the forefront for, again, the new generation. It's something that, again, it feels like right now for the NHL, it's in exciting times. That, again, you're seeing new, fresh faces at the top, whether it is Vegas, whether it is Seattle, Colorado, again, a team of old, winning another Stanley Cup. It's something that you got to imagine the NHL is in a pretty healthy spot right now here in 2024.
Well, and then 1980, and again, I know we got to move on here real quick, but it brought more fans to watch hockey.
Yeah.
Again, I grew up with Charlie Finley buying the California Golden Seals, okay? I used to go in the Oakland Coliseum and watch the Seals. You know what? That's a 15,000-seat venue. There was only about 5,000 fans. And again, then we saw the expansion where the Colorado Rockies came into play in Denver, even though they didn't have much success. But it also opened new doors for the NHL to expand.
Yeah.
And again, this win by the Americans put more butts in seats, but it also brought more eyes to the Olympics as well, too. We started getting into the speed skating. Eric Heiden, when he had his success. Again, like I said, I like the luge, I like the bobsled, the downhill skiing. But that's what we were watching back then. All of a sudden now it was hockey. We got to catch the speed skating. We had to catch all the events, and that made the Winter Games even that much more exciting, especially when they even showed up in Utah a few years back. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We'll come back. We're going to talk NHL with Victoria Matiash right here on 1480 K-Ray.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
So today's your 18th birthday. Hey, Bobby, pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah. I've got my whole life ahead of me. School, then a job. I've been waiting for this day forever.
And when will you be registering with Selective Service?
What? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'll get around to it someday.
Someday?
Yeah, like, whenever I get around to it, like, I don't know.
Well, Bobby, if you don't register with Selective Service within 30 days of your 18th birthday, you can lose out on college loans, job training, and government jobs. And then you'll be, like out of luck.
Bobby, where are you going?
I'm just gonna get online for a minute, then I'll be right back.
To register with Selective Service, log on to www.sss.gov or stop by your local post office.
There. Are you happy now?
Very.
For almost 60 years, 1480 K-Ray has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY-FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both K-Ray and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proietti at 307-637-0301.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
For over 30 years and still delivering the results you expect is Shine Auto Repair and Service. Hi, this is Larry Proietti again for Cars in downtown Cheyenne, reminding you that John and his staff are there to take care of your vehicle's woes. From oil change and replacing windshield wipers to digging deep into fixing your heating and air conditioning unit or fixing your brakes and shocks. You can depend on Shine Auto Repair and Service for taking care of most minor repairs. And most importantly, John is a TechNet professional, which means he is one of the best nationally when it comes to getting your car or truck back on the road as soon as possible. Check him out online at technetprofessional.com. Don't wait until the last minute. Have your vehicle serviced by one of the best in Cheyenne. Shine Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 632-0498. That's 307-632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, snow and cold with a winter weather advisory in effect through tonight. Expect a daytime high near 4 degrees. Total daytime snow accumulation of 3 to 5 inches possible. Tonight, it's going to be cloudy with a pretty good chance of snow this evening, then gradually becoming partly cloudy after midnight. Our low dropping down to 15 degrees below zero. And for tomorrow, Thursday, increasing clouds. Look for a daytime high near 13 degrees. We welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti, and we get a chance to bring on a nice lady that we have not talked to in a long, long time, Victoria Matiash, ESPN.com NHL writer, also host of Pucks in 7 podcast. And Victoria in Toronto, Canada, probably going through the same type of weather happenings we are going through right now. But we want to talk a little NHL hockey with you, Victoria. And again, we're getting into the home stretch of the regular season, so a lot of doings that are going to be going on. I guess my first question out of the box, because I know Nick is wearing his Vegas Golden Knights shirts, and I know he jumped on that bandwagon when Vegas first came into play. Seattle Kraken, I'm going to ask you this question out of the box right here. Their second season, they're in that hunt for the playoffs. Is this a team that can make some noise in the West?
Well, first of all, Nick and Larry, thanks for having me back on. I miss talking to you guys, and I'm really happy to be back in the fold having the conversation. As for the Kraken, I don't think they're quite there yet. I think so far this season, I mean, they have 70 points after 57 games played, which is they're already miles ahead of what they accomplished last year. So applause all around, and they've got a great future with the likes of Matty Beniers and some other young talent coming up in there. But for now, I still think it's a little bit too much of a lunch bucket crew to really – there's not enough star power quite yet. I think they're getting there, but they're eking out wins. They've had some fortunate results with some lucky performances in net, but I still think there are some improvements to be made. Now, listen, do they make the playoffs? I think it's quite possible they will. I think it's possible they will squeeze in third position in the Pacific or maybe even with a wild card, but I don't think they're going to last very long this postseason. I think we're still looking ahead to building up a little bit more over the next year or two before they're to enjoy any real playoff success.
Well, and playoff success has been apparent, especially just down the road of us with the Colorado Avalanche, again, defending Stanley Cup champions. They've been up and down this season, dealing with a lot of injuries, call-ups from the Colorado Eagles, but they're in that playoff hunt as well, too. Let's get into kind of Avs talk right now with the Colorado Avalanche. Is that a team where if they get things gelling with the talent that they have with Makar, with McKinnon, is that a team that could get back in the Stanley Cup finals this season?
100%, but I think they need to make a move at the deadline or before the trade deadline. I think they're missing one piece. Now, listen, I mean, we can do a huge deep dive here because there's some things that are going very right for the Colorado Avalanche. First of all, Bowen Byram is healthy again. That's huge. Gabriel Landeskog is healing. He's skating again, so they should have him back. That's massive for this team, and it's also necessary. But I will say this. Cale Makar is back in concussion protocol. How long is that going to last? That is a big problem. If we're talking a couple of weeks, no big deal. If we're talking a couple of months, much bigger deal. And I don't think that they've ever replaced Nazem Kadri at the second-line center position. So, guys, this is something they have to look at before the trade deadline. Shop around a little bit. I know there was interest in Ryan O'Reilly. He's now in Toronto, so they've got to look at somebody like Max Domi or Adam Henrique or maybe even Ivan Barbashev with St. Louis, somebody who doesn't cost a lot. They can slide in under the cap, but they can fill in at that second-line center position. JT Compher's not doing it, guys. He isn't. He's a good player, but he doesn't suit that role, and they need to strengthen down the middle if they're going to win in the postseason. I think we all know that. Defense, center, you got to be strong down the middle. You need goaltending. They've got two, and now they need the third.
You mentioned, again, big names available, or at least, again, looking and tossed out a part of this trade deadline upcoming here in a few weeks. One name that, again, has been tossed out and still sitting right now with the Chicago Blackhawks is one, Patrick Kane, who, again, is still showing off. He's got a lot of talent. Almost came away with the game-winning goal last night against Vegas. But, again, Patrick Kane, could he come to Denver, or where's the ideal landing spot if he is traded away for Patrick Kane?
Oh, this is such a fun conversation to have. I don't want him in Denver because I think you need help at center. Patrick Kane is not a center. He's a winger. He's a scoring winger, and he's going to put up points. But if you have Landeskog coming back, I don't think you need him. Not as badly, and not for the price that Chicago is going to want, right? Where I want to see him play. And which one of you is the Knights fan again?
That would be me, so I'm the big Knights fan.
I think he either lands in Vegas or Dallas. Those are my two preferred spots, and those are also two of the hottest destinations that they're talking about right now. And the idea of Patrick Kane playing on the wing with Jack Eichel in Vegas, that is pretty delectable, isn't it? I think that would be something to watch. I think watching him in Dallas as well, maybe playing with Tyler Seguin would be kind of fun. But, I mean, Colorado Avalanche fans don't want to see that. And I think maybe for them it would be better to see him land in Vegas. At least it's not the same division, and see what he could accomplish with Jack Eichel. Again, that's what I would like to see. But and we're going to see him move somewhere. He's not finishing off this season with Chicago. There's no point in him doing that. If his hip is okay and everybody does their due diligence and he's healthy enough to continue playing, I think we're going to see him somewhere else. Maybe Carolina too, but I think Dallas, Vegas, I think that's your number one too.
Get me excited with the potential talk of Patrick Kane being part of the Vegas Golden Knights. But even if Vegas does not land Patrick Kane, as this team stands right now, again, atop of the Pacific Division, I do believe 1 or 2 points at least in the top of the Western Conference standings as of right now. But for Vegas, as they stand, is this a team that can get back in the Stanley Cup Finals?
In the Stanley Cup Finals, it's going to be tough as they're currently constructed. Mark Stone needs to be healthy again. So let's say they don't pick anybody up. They don't pick up a sniper like Patrick Kane. They're going to need Mark Stone to come back healthy. Their defense is solid. I still think there's some questions in net. I mean, Logan Thompson, first of all, is hurt. We don't even know when exactly he's going to be in true form again. I know he's healing, but, I mean, they can't rely on somebody like Aiden Hill to carry them through that many weeks of playoff hockey. So there's some questions in net. Mark Stone, they need him back, but they've got one of the best defensive cores in the league that I think they're going to be able to challenge for sure. So we'll have to see. They're the top four as far as I'm looking at the Western Conference contending teams. They still are in my top four.
You know, Victoria, being the old guy here, and I'm the kind of the traditionalist, and I always like to see the go to the East where the Bruins are on top right now, and Toronto, the franchise there is looking like it's becoming stronger and stronger. But I'm saddened over on the western part of the conference where I see the Sharks and I see the Anaheim Ducks, and I mean they're barely floating above water right now. Is it ownership that is just allowing these teams to falter, or nobody wants to come and play anymore in the South Bay Area and Southern California?
I think it's more of a sine wave and roundabouts thing. I think there's still a great deal of appeal, especially from a lot of guys who play, northern parts of the country. There's still appeal in playing places like Arizona and in California and where the weather is a little bit nicer. I know a lot of players who are super excited about playing in places like LA and such. So I just think they're in those teams that you mentioned right now, your Anaheim and your San Jose, very similar to Vancouver, which is, a more traditional hockey market north of the border. And they're in another rebuild, and they got to figure out what direction to take moving forward. And I think a lot of the teams also have that number one draft pick. You guys this year, Connor Bedard is a game changer. He's beyond generational. People are saying that he's even going to blow Connor McDavid out of the water with what he's able to accomplish. And I know there's a draft lottery in play, and you still only have a 1 in 4 chance, even if you finish dead last in the NHL. But I think there's quite a few teams, have-not teams right now. Your Chicagos are in there, too, who are hoping that at least if they tank, they're going to tank for Connor Bedard and come out with something at the end of the day. But they're rebuilding teams, especially Anaheim. Anaheim's very young. And I think, once again, that we're in 2, 3, 4 years with the talent that they have, we're going to see some good hockey come out of Southern California again.
Victoria, we were talking just before we brought you on about the Miracle on Ice again 43 years ago, and how eyes eventually started coming back to the National Hockey League. It was kind of, I don't want to, some of the worst teams. I remember the old California Golden Seals under Charlie Finley, where there was plenty of good seats almost in the Oakland Coliseum Arena to watch the Golden Seals. But, with the Miracle on Ice, it started putting more butts back in seats. Let's talk 2023, the state of the National Hockey League. From my viewpoint, it looks like, especially here in our part of the world, Avalanche down at Ball Arena. They've got their AAA franchise nearby in Loveland, Colorado, where they do very well drawing. But the fan support for the National Hockey League is probably at one of its best junctions right now.
Oh, 100%. Larry, 100%. It is growing all the time. I know not everybody is a huge fan of Gary Bettman, but he has done some excellent work. Him and his office has done some excellent work in growing the game, especially in what we consider or what we call non-traditional hockey markets like what we're talking about here. I think the expansion to Vegas was just, talk about a winner. First of all, you've got Vegas Golden Knights fans all around North America. You've got Golden Knights fans in Europe. If people take their holidays to Vegas now, and taking in a Knights game is almost just part of the gambling and the shows and the dining and all the rest of it. And I think more and more of that, but the game is going to grow further, and you get kids, you've got little girls and little boys watching now. The women's game is growing. People now know you can name, somebody on the street can name professional women's hockey players in Canada and the U.S., and you would never have come across that 15 years ago. So the game is just growing all together. Now these kids, you have your Austin Matthews, who grew up playing hockey in Arizona. That was unheard of 25 years ago. So we're making strides, nowhere near the popularity of the NFL or the MLB yet, or NBA even, but growing, taking leaps and bounds all the time. It's such a great game. Whenever you hear somebody to sit down and take it in and watch for the first time, they come back and they always say, this is amazing, this is so much fun, and they get hooked. And I think we're just doing more and more of that, and that's how we're growing it, and I think it's working really well.
Victoria, I'm getting the high sign here. I know we got to let you go. We want to thank you so much, but I also want you to put in a little plug there for your Pucks and Seven podcast.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We do it once a week. My co-host is Ryan Payton. He's from the NHL Network. Of course, I do my work at ESPN, and it's about an hour once a week. We summarize the 7 days before and the 7 days to come. We have a lot of laughs. We're not very serious, and we're not endorsed by anybody, so we're a little rogue. Go and check it out wherever you get your podcast.
All righty, thank you so much, and we will catch up with you again, hopefully around Stanley Cup playoff time.
You guys give me a call whenever you like. Love talking to you.
All right, thank you so much. Victoria Matiash, who is the ESPN.com NHL writer, also, again, host of Pucks in 7 podcast. That sounds like that's a pretty fun program, the way she described it, too, because, again,
we'll keep it casual, keep it kind of how we flow.
And then you get a little, testy at times as well, too.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, again, go check that out. Again, love having Victoria on. Again, we've had her on, again, whether it was YM Sports Talk today, now the iteration of the Pro Show. Again, love getting the NHL insight on that. Again, going back to, again, some of her conversation of, again, it was a lot. Again, obviously, a short amount of time. Trades.
Possibles.
And again, movement has already been made. There are rumors aplenty right now. Again, we're still a couple weeks away from when the deadline is set right now, at least set in the NHL. But again, the big name is Patrick Kane of, again, where he will land. Again, will it be Vegas? Will it be somewhere else? Again, will it be South Florida? It's really up to, again, Chicago, the Blackhawks, of what they do. Again, Blackhawks who, again, I guess let's step it back a second, where the Colorado Avalanche, again, rumor was they were interested in one Jonathan Toews, who seemed like he was on the way out, as, again, Blackhawks are retooling and selling the house off, again, from the former Stanley Cup championship days. But, again, Jonathan Toews was anticipated to at least, or was entertained by the Colorado Avalanche. Blackhawks GM came out and said, no, he's sticking with Chicago. So, again, will Patrick Kane stay a Blackhawk? Will he move on? That's kind of the biggest question right now, especially as the Blackhawks still are struggling right now. And I say that even though, again, they got the shootout win last night at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. So, quality win there. But, again,
every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, Nick. So, the Blackhawks are just not good.
Yeah, Blackhawks, again, they find a way to win against my teams and still find a way to win at the United Center. So, but we'll see what happens. Again, Colorado Avalanche, you got to imagine they got to be buyers, but again, how big of a budget they will have, that's going to be up in the air right now from that ownership group. Again, it's a team that definitely needs help right now, especially with the injuries that they are dealing with. But it's a team that has survived. Again, whether we've talked with Kevin McGlue, giving kind of the Eagles inside, again, the Eagles do have talent, a part of the AHL, sending him up to the parent company, or at least parent club, I should say. It's something that the Avs, a little inconsistent, but they're still in the playoff hunt. They're still in a solid spot in the wild card position, again, or at least, again, sitting in that top 3 for the playoffs. Will they make a move? You got to imagine that they will. You have a feeling that the Avs are going to find someone or try to deal with someone and bolster this team as they want to get back in the Stanley Cup Finals and again defend that Stanley Cup championship.
Let me interrupt you because you know this a lot better than I do. You're more inside than I am. Does Joe Sakic have that panache? Again, I always look back to Moneyball where Billy Beane was working with ownership that didn't want to give him any money. But doesn't Joe Sakic...
This is an ownership that, again, it's still under the Kroenkes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But does Joe Sakic have a little more muscle in trying to obtain that extra cash from the Kroenkes? Because, again,
I think so.
he's paying off in dividends for the Kroenkes right now.
I think plain and simple, yeah. Again, why would you deny what Joe Sakic wants? Or, again, if he's trying to go after a guy, why would you deny, again, the brilliant mind that is Joe Sakic, a guy who bleeds the burgundy and blue of the Colorado Avalanche, and again is beloved by the fan base. It's something that you got to imagine that
they're buyers.
Buyers, and Kroenke is not going to say no to him. Again, Kroenkes, who again own the LA Rams, they own again a good amount of sports entertainment that again it is worth a pretty penny. The Avs got to imagine that if they don't make a move by trade deadline time, or at least, and not saying they got to go after Patrick Kane again, Victoria kind of at least kind of put that off to the side, saying no, that they don't need help there. But if they don't find someone, and maybe also too, again, I think the big issue right now for the Colorado Avalanche, in my opinion, is goaltending. their goalies for the past couple seasons have been kind of questioned, have had some interesting contests. What saved them is, again, the high-powered offense and, again, defense led by Cal McCarr. But, again, he's dealing with concussion protocol. He's out for a while. But if the Avs don't make a move trade deadline, I would be shocked. I would be surprised because you got to imagine this team's going to buy all in as they did last season to get back to that Stanley Cup final. They want that taste. They want to get back and defend that cup, especially where you need some solid talent right now. You need that consistency to compete in this Western Conference, not even just in the Central Division when, again, you're looking up to the Dallas Stars, but as we alluded to in the West, again, the Vegas Golden Knights, who, again, if they go after Patrick Kane, that vaults them into a new stratosphere. If, again, Seattle finds a way to get hot, again, the LA Kings, who knows with the Edmonton Oilers. It's something that it's a talented Western Conference at the Colorado Avalanche. You can't skirt by. You can't just kind of luck your way into the Stanley Cup final. No, you're going to have to earn it, and you're going to get battered and bruised as you go through the playoffs in the Western Conference.
Well, and the latest update I got on Cale Makar, he's expected back Saturday against Winnipeg. So that could be some positive news for the Avalanche. But again, like I said, you've got the inside scoop on this stuff. And again, how much influence does Joe Sakic have for the Avalanche? And it sounds like the best available on the market, I think the Avalanche are going to scoop up.
Again, we'll see what happens with the Avs. You got to imagine there'll be buyers. Looking at the standings right now of where, again, the Colorado Avalanche sit in the Central Division. Again, they are sitting in that 3-hole spot. So just behind Winnipeg, just behind Dallas. A few points behind them. They're sitting with 67 points. Again, Winnipeg at 71, Dallas at 72. Again, can they get that Central Division? Yes, it's within reach, but I just don't see it as possible with how red hot the Dallas Stars have been. They've been a consistently good team throughout this season, so I don't think they're taking that top spot from the Dallas Stars anytime. Again, you mentioned with the Winnipeg Jets coming, I do believe the Jets, at least that game's on the road. This is kind of an interesting stretch for the Colorado Avalanche. On the road against Winnipeg, need that victory, get it done on the road. Then, again, Monday game I'll be at, again, they'll host the Vegas Golden Knights. You got some talented opponents right there where, again, they're gunning for points. You're going to have to earn those points and see if you can get it done against some high-caliber teams here in the Western Conference, which, again, you might see come playoff time.
Avs are currently on a 3-game win streak. They have actually performed well on the road. So let's give the Avs their due. I think they're 17-10 and 4 ties on the road? Something to that effect. So, again, I'm not too worried about them going to Winnipeg. Winnipeg's been really good at home. But the Avs have played better, I feel, on the road than they have at Ball Arena.
Yeah, looking at, again, the upcoming schedule right now for the Avalanche on the road this Friday against the Winnipeg Jets, home against the Calgary Flames, home against the Vegas Golden Knights. That's Monday. And also, home starting out March, home against the New Jersey Devils. You got a big one coming up Saturday, March 4th on the road against Dallas. So, again, that's a marquee matchup. So, again, you have right now for the Avs opportunity to, again, get yourself in a good position in that Central Division when, again, you're on the road. And, again, that's the issue is that you're facing these teams on the road. Doesn't necessarily say that you can't defeat them, but here's your opportunity. At Winnipeg, at Dallas for the next 5. You got those two teams. If you beat them, you pick up 2 points against them. There you go. You vault yourself a little bit higher in those standings. And again, home against Vegas. Vegas has struggled in Ball Arena, and we shall see again if this Vegas team they were on a 5-game winning streak, lost in the shootout last night against the Chicago Blackhawks, but see if Vegas, where they kind of stand. And who knows? Again, they were in Chicago. Maybe the deals are in the making right now to get Patrick Kane out to Sin City. So we shall see. But that's how things kind of stand up right now. Again, Avs, interesting spot, playoff bound. Are they Stanley Cup finalists possibly? I don't see it just with how talented the Western Conference is.
Who's the best in the NHL? Hurricanes? Bruins? Who? I mean, right now, if you said, who's your number 1 ranked team, who would you say?
For me,
and I'm not talking about record. You, like I said, you're more into this than me.
For me, again, I would obviously I'm going to go with my team of the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, they stand at the top right now. They got the point lead over the Dallas Stars for the best in the West. Again, they also too are the same game played. Again, just had that loss last night. But either way, though, again, Bruins. I think you can make a case for it. Carolina. I either or, but I'd probably say Boston. Boston's probably that team that's in the forefront to, again, represent the East and get into the Stanley Cup. Again, I would assume, again, according to Vegas sports odds, that they're probably a heavy favorite to win the Stanley Cup. So right now, Boston is your talented team. They've just been beating up whoever in the Eastern Conference. It's been just kind of shameful. They sit right now with 91 points. They are in that driver's seat for the President's Cup trophy where, granted, in years past, whether it's been Toronto, whether it's been Tampa, granted, Tampa's finally found themselves a couple Stanley Cup championships, but again, that President's Cup trophy doesn't necessarily mean that you are the best team in the NHL. You were in the regular season, but when it comes to playoff time, we've seen a completely different story with some of those President Cups, at least trophy winner teams that really underperform. So, again, going off points, going off of wins, or going off of what I've seen, yes, Boston Bruins, but right now, who is my Stanley Cup favorite? You got to look to the West, whether it is Dallas, whether it is Vegas. Could it be Winnipeg? Could it be Colorado? I think who comes away with the championship is going to be in the Western Conference this season.
You know, I look back to last season, and you can answer this better than me. Out of the West, is the dark horse team that gets into the playoffs the Edmonton Oilers? Are they that enigma team because they've been up,
I guess,
down?
again, with McDavid, yeah.
But, I mean, are they that dark horse team that could possibly sneak into that championship round in the West?
I say Seattle could be that team to keep an eye out, where Victoria said, hey, maybe not this year, but maybe next. I say Seattle. Seattle's kind of come out of nowhere this season, where, again, last year struggled a little bit. But it's paying off, where, again, they're getting healthy. They got a lot of the talent, at least there in place for the Kraken. That's a team to keep an eye on. Yes, Edmonton, they are a force. They made a deep run last year in the playoffs. Again, you can't deny, again, Connor McDavid, what he brings to the table, especially when it comes to the playoffs. So either I'd pick hairs with either, I'd say Edmonton, Seattle, St. Louis, maybe. The Blues, again, we're talking a franchise that was a Stanley Cup champion about, again, 6-7 years ago. Right. They've been in the playoffs. Last year, lost to the Colorado Avalanche in the playoffs. So, out of the West, those are my three of, again, teams to at least kind of dark horse, or at least give them respect of keep an eye out on the playoffs, where, again, they could come away and steal some road games, or steal a series, this or that. So, I'd keep out for those three.
All right, we do need to take a break, and when we come back, we will chat more on the professional side. I do want to remind everybody that Tyler Kimzey joins us here in the 12 o'clock hour, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets, as they get ready for the 2A East Regional, which will be happening in Sundance and Moorcroft. Matter of fact, they will have the host Sundance Bulldog. Are they the Bulldogs anymore? I can't remember. They switched names.
I think so, because, again, they are the
Patriots
during
football, when they're with Upton.
Upton. So I think they are, at least for basketball, the Bulldogs. So,
all right, we'll look out at, because, like I said, everybody changes around from time to time. We'll take a quick break. You are listening to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. Here's Nick Proietti. We're back after this.
Do you have Medicare, and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. That's 800-245-3098.
At the Cheyenne Regional Heart and Vascular Institute, you're welcomed with the warmth of a community hospital and cared for with help from the most advanced technology in the industry. With our full spectrum of in-house heart services and procedures, you can get the treatment you need, recover, and get right back out there, all while remaining close to home. Find out more at CheyenneRegional.org/heart.
Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wyoroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
Tired of choosing between spending and saving? Platte Valley Bank can help you take care of everything without missing anything. Managing your money can seem overwhelming. PV Budget helps you evaluate your spending, set savings goals, and create a budget that's easy to follow. Look for the PV Budget tool next time you log on to your online or mobile banking account. Take charge of your money and get your financial life on track. Platte Valley Bank, you belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Wisdom, expertise, compassion, qualities that are the foundation of Cheyenne Urological, with their experienced doctors and their highly trained staff providing top quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. You can trust Cheyenne Urological to give you the highest quality urinary care. Now offering the latest in robotic surgery, call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131. That's 635-4131.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, snow and cold with a winter weather advisory in effect through tonight. Expect a daytime high near 4 degrees. Total daytime snow accumulation of 3 to 5 inches possible. Tonight, it's going to be cloudy with a pretty good chance of snow this evening, then gradually becoming partly cloudy after midnight. Our low dropping down to 15 degrees below zero. And for tomorrow, Thursday, increasing clouds. Look for a daytime high near 13 degrees. You know, I'm glad that we had the NHL talk right out of the box today, Nick, as I was sitting here during the break and I was doing a lot of reminiscing. But, I mean, for me, I've been down to one Rockies contest when they were the old Colorado Rockies, and then the Avalanche I've seen a couple times in person at Pepsi. As a matter of fact, it was Pepsi back then. And you sit here and you look at just how exciting the National Hockey League has become. And again, I wish you were, you know, where we're at right now. I wish you would have been around with me. I could have took you to the Oakland Coliseum Arena, because back then, Charlie Finley, when he owned the old California Golden Seals, dressed them up like the Oakland A's. They had white skates, and they were in Kelly green and gold. And then again, he disbanded the franchise where a lot of the players went off to Pittsburgh, the old Cleveland Barons, and the Minnesota North Stars. But again, the National Hockey League right now, and she's absolutely right. Do I think Gary Bettman is worse than Manfred? No. Do I think Bettman is worse than
Silver? No. Again, is he worse than right now.
Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell, who's probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of
he's made a name for himself.
He's not the greatest, without a doubt. Again, all four commissioners have their issues, but again, his issue is not as bad as, again, with at least with Goodell, with Adam Silver in the NBA. You know, it's something that right now for the NHL, obviously they are the fourth spot. Again, not in my heart, but again, they are the fourth team, at least fourth league of popularity. I wouldn't doubt here in the United States, but that popularity is starting to grow. You got to imagine, and who knows? Again, where we talked about this years ago, especially regarding the kneeling, regarding all this political stances, and especially with the NBA. Who knows how many of those fans have still turned their backs away from those leagues, whether it's NFL, MLB, NBA, and now, hey, the NHL's not really – they're just playing hockey right now. Teams could have their thoughts or do this or that, but as a league, they've kind of shied away from the political stances and just said, hey, we're playing hockey. We're gonna play our game. You wonder how many of those fans that trickled away from those leagues have now fallen in love with hockey, going, all right, I want to watch a game, get away from everything. So who knows how much of a benefit that has been. But again, the NHL, I give credit to what hockey has become, whether it is a stadium series, the Winter Classics that have been going on, even during the pandemic. Again, we go back and look at the Winter Classic between the Avs and the Vegas Golden Knights. It was held there in Tahoe. It was held, again, in front of no fans, but they still found a way to do it out there in Nevada, at least during the COVID time. So, again, the throwback jerseys that look back to, again, history, again, even look to the Avs, where, again, last year, where the part of their reverse retro went to, again, the old Quebec Nordiques look. Again, you mentioned at least the San Jose Sharks this year for their reverse jersey. Again, gave a nod to the Golden Seals. They went back to the old Seals design. We know that again, a few other teams are going back and addressing their history as a franchise, as a league. So I give credit to the NHL. They're doing innovative, new ideas, exciting time, and I think it is reciprocating that fans are packing these stadiums, and even in smaller markets that, again, normally in years past or probably in the 90s, early 2000s, we're begging for fans.
Well, and they're always trying to protect players, so there's nothing wrong with that. But the National Hockey League has to become namby-pamby. You still can get hit in the National Hockey League. Look at the NFL, how, again, quarterbacks.
Fights are definitely, again, few and far between, and they're
limited.
They're definitely something that NHL is avoiding.
But you look at the NBA. You can't flop anymore. I mean, you got all these restrictions. Look at what baseball is becoming. Baseball is becoming more artificial intelligence than it is the real game. But again, at least the National Hockey League still is the muscle of the four separate of the companies. Again, NFL. Again, Roger Goodell, and again, I understand how but they're trying to protect players, but again, they've really softened the touch. NBA, you got more whiners than anything right now in the NBA. Then you go to Major League Baseball. Like I said, baseball to me, it's getting boring.
Well, I don't know about that. Again, I'll still go watch baseball.
I will
again,
too, but I'm just saying it's boring.
Well, and here, and again, you mentioned MLB, where, again, new additions are coming this season. Again, we know pitchers and catchers have reported down there to, again, Florida or Arizona as we get close to spring training right now.
Next week.
Right now, again, looking at, again, at least, and it's not proposed, it sounds like it's going to happen. And one thing is we've seen, again, those pitch clock, counter clocks, which, again, we're using the minors, are official now that, again, we'll keep an eye out. Looking at the notes that, again, MLB has released that bases empty pitch timer is for 15 seconds. With runners on bases, it's 20-second clock now for pitchers to get it done. Again, what the ramifications if you go past that pitch clock has not really been outlined, and it doesn't seem like umpires really care.
There's no
that
fines.
Again, how many times have we been down, again, to Coors Field, or, again, I went out to Houston, again, throughout, again, this land where those pitch clocks are there. You see it. You see the counter tick on down. We've seen it go past that 0 point. Nothing happened. So, again, it's just kind of a flash in the pan. On top of that, shifts are being limited. Number of shifts, which, whatever. I guess. who cares? And then the also two other thing is
So they want it to be a hitter's game.
and also to bigger bases as well too. So again, expanding the base size for all four again coming up here in MLB. So again, those are some of the changes that again have been proposed and again are initiated here by Rob Manfred. I do believe as well too that I think this season for minor league baseball starts from AAA on down. There's no umpires. From my understanding, that again, it's all automated.
Yeah.
So as we were worried about that, that reality is now here that now in the minors, they're testing out that system.
Well, and again, too, things that I still do not like in Major League Baseball. I do not like 7-inning doubleheaders. Second thing is I really hate that California rules, extra innings. You know, again, baseball used to be a pitcher's game. Okay.
And again, I can't remember, and that's been talked about of recent that, again, the base runner on and the extra innings to, again, make that game in faster. If I remember correctly, again, as there's been a lot of MLB news in the offseason, again, regarding rule changes, but it sounds like, again, they're looking to go away from that and just kind of.
Because it sucks. It really does. I mean, again, you and me, we pay for the ticket. We want to watch a baseball game. And again, as we always say in extra innings, hey, free baseball. Because, again, a ticket is pretty expensive to go watch a game now.
It is something with time limits. And, again, some of those games where it's very rare, but some of those do go on for about 4 or 5 hours due to the extra innings.
I've got nothing going on. That's why I come down to watch a baseball game, you know?
Yeah, but again, how many times do you see those stadiums empty out where, again, fans are just not sticking around for it?
That's up to them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you bought a ticket. You can do what you want to do with that ticket. But the thing is, you know, you start with the runner at second base. As a matter of fact, I saw that last year with the Giants and the Rockies. And I just said, this sucks. And I'm glad the Giants won, but it was like, this is not baseball. I mean, you know, and again, they just got, every year, too many rule changes coming down the pike. And it's like, you know, again, I understand the technology that's involved now with baseball. But the human part of Major League Baseball is just about a thing of the past. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
They've dehumanized the game so much.
Looking at it for 23, again, that rule is still implemented in regular season games. Let's make that note that, again, it's regular season that beginning in the 10th inning, again, a runner starts on second as what we've been seeing. So, again, that rule is still implemented for this season. Again, there's been talks, though, that it may go away, but it's still here for the foreseeable future. So, I would not be opposed to it. But either way, again, as MLB does change, does alter its rules, it's now it's kind of detracting me away from, again, where I thought, at least for me, I was always a baseball fan, number one. It's now kind of getting shifted behind NHL for me, or at least hockey, where these rule changes and just the altering of the game. Am I opposed to the automatic strike zone or the automated umpires? We'll see how it goes in the minors, but it doesn't. It's not wanting me to go out to the game more.
How do you know it's a strike? You're the catcher. Where's that noise going to come from to let you know?
The noise, again, as we saw, and I think it was tested out during the All-Star game last year. Again, it was headset in the
catcher.
In the catcher. It's more so now we're starting to see that. Again, with the catcher, they are getting those automated, at least cues from pitching coaches, or at least, again, coaches, where, again, we saw during the All-Star game, I do believe, and even in the postseason, where, again, a click of the button was telling them, hey, here's a fastball, or I want you to call this, or I want you to
Does the batter have to look at the scoreboard to see if he's got a ball and 2 strikes?
I have no idea.
See, I mean, like I said, this is getting
like I said, it's being
odd.
tested out in the minors. So.
And real quick, I know we got Tyler coming up here in just a bit. I want to go back to the shift thing just real quick. Again, I go back to Willie McCovey and watch many games with the San Francisco Giants, and they put on the McCovey shift. Okay? Nobody griped about it back then.
But
now the shift.
The gripe is that there's way too many shifts.
I understand
for
that.
every batter. And that goes in with the sabermetrics. That goes in with every analyzing detail that the shifts are a little ridiculous.
And again, too, with Major League Baseball players today, the big pansies that they are, you can't hit both fields. Hey, Pete Rose did it. Look how many hits he got in his career. You got to learn you got to be able to handle the bat. That's why you're major leaguers. You can't be a pull hitter all throughout your career.
And obviously, again, limiting the shifts for all teams coming up this season what it does is, it's going to allow more offense. It's going to allow more hits. It's going to allow
that's all about.
And that's kind of been the big concern right now for Manfred of. We want more offense. We want, again, more exciting,
Does that
thrilling,
expand the time, though? Doesn't that make the games go longer?
I have no
You
idea.
have 20-run innings?
Obviously, again, with the pitch clock, again, is that their solution to, again, make the games faster? Who knows? Doubtful. And, again, that pitch clock, which just seems like a sham. Again, what is the ramifications?
And so is Manfred. He's a sham as well, too. He's a moron. Needs to go. All right, we got to take a break, and we'll come back with hour number 2. We're going to talk high school hoops. And Tyler Kimzey of the Pine Bluffs Hornets right after these words right here in 1480 K-Ray.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Tired of choosing between finances and family time? Platte Valley Bank can help you take care of everything without missing anything. With our online and mobile banking, you can experience immediate access to check your account balance, pay bills, transfer money, and even create a budget. When life has you on the go, Platte Valley Bank makes it simple to take your banking with you. Platte Valley Bank, you belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
For 17 years at Kia of Cheyenne, we have strived to offer the best value in a new vehicle. I'm AJ Miller, and the new 2023 Kia Seltos will take on the roads with rugged capabilities for all climates. The 2023 Kia Seltos has available all-wheel drive, 10-inch touchscreen, heated seats, and turbocharged power. With the new Kia, get one of the best warranties in the business. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Now that the colder weather is upon us, it's more important than ever to make sure that your brakes on your vehicle are operating at 100%. So if you noticed a grinding or squeaky noise every time you brake, then it's high time you stop into the Brake Stop at 1622 East Lincoln Way, where Wayne and his crew will fit your car or truck with the best brakes to go along with best service and the best price. Wherever your travels take you, and whatever weather conditions Mother Nature throws at you, you can always feel confident that the brakes on your vehicle came from the Brake Stop. Call 307-514-6231 or drop by to 1622 East Lincoln Way in Cheyenne.
Hi, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. It's time to put 2022 behind us and get 2023 off to a great start. The best way to do that is with new flooring from Absolute Flooring. With a large variety of flooring products and a multitude of styles, colors, and prices, your new floor awaits you. And with the best in installers, get your new year started off right with a stop at Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza and at AbsoluteFlooringWIO.com. Remember, it's always your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
When you are dealing with the coin shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The coin shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, snow and cold with a winter weather advisory in effect through tonight. Expect a daytime high near 4 degrees. Total daytime snow accumulation of 3 to 5 inches possible. Tonight, it's going to be cloudy with a pretty good chance of snow this evening, then gradually becoming partly cloudy after midnight. Our low dropping down to 15 degrees below zero. And for tomorrow, Thursday, increasing clouds. Look for a daytime high near 13 degrees. Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And we welcome you back to hour number 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We bring on our next guest. He's the head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets basketball team as they get ready for the 2A tournament, which will be held again in Sundance as well as Moorcroft. As a matter of fact, the Hornets will open up with Sundance in the opening round of the regional playoffs. Tyler Kimzey joins us. Coach, first off, congratulations on a great regular season and winning your part of the conference. Second part of my, I guess, accolades, and I was talking about this yesterday, where, again, with Fornstrom and Schaefer and Lurick and Jessen, another great senior. He doesn't get a lot of press, but it gives you very valuable minutes on the floor. That's Alex Sloan. And then again, too, when Alex comes on out, boy, you get to put that three-headed monster out there, whether it is Slade, I think Justin Lurick, and Carson Freeberg. It's almost like the team doesn't skip a beat when you go even to the bench.
Yeah, and that's been a work in progress. Obviously, those kids that are coming in are a little bit younger, but they deserve to be out there, and they just, bring different things to the table, whether it be dribbling or extra ball handler, good defense, a little bit of length. So they're all good at their roles, and they all know what they're good at.
When we did the last game with the Burns Bronx, and again, Fornstrom just took over, and I know I think Stu got into foul difficulty early on. Jessen was having an off day at home, but Fornstrom has just been the magic man all season for you. Unbelievable what he can do with the basketball. Yeah,
he's got to be one of the better true point guards, I feel like, in the two-way. I would say in the state, Coach.
Let's give him his accolades. He is one of the best.
Yep, and his numbers kind of prove it. I think he's hovering around 7 assists a game, and like maybe even less than 2 turnovers. Like it's just really, really good assist to turnover ratio, and his shooting's coming up. He's scoring, he's rebounding well. He's averaging 7 or 8 boards a game, I think. So he's just able to do it all. And his on-ball defense is unreal. So yeah, there's nothing that he can't take care of.
Coach, you finished the regular season 21-2 overall, 6-0 in the Southeast Quadrant, which can put you as the number 1 seed, at least according to the Southeast for this East Regional Tournament. But 21-2, obviously you've got to be very happy with that overall record. Coach, as you look back, is that something you expected? Is it a little bit higher? I mean, let's look back to this regular season of how your team performed here, 22 and 23.
Well, we had a good group of seniors. We didn't really lose a ton from last year's state championship team. And this group understood that if they came in and did things the right way, and they've been playing varsity ball since they were sophomores, they were kind of thrust into that starting role. So they kind of knew what style of play they're good at. They know what to expect at this point. So I think it wasn't expected, but they knew if they went in and worked hard and did the things that they're good at, that they would have a successful season. And that depends on the player or the parent or the fan. Everyone gets to determine their version of a successful season, but I think everyone's happy with the success that we've had so far. The games we lost were close games. They were winnable. We just didn't pull through.
The unfortunate thing, though, again, where you have an unbelievable regular season, 21-2, again, go undefeated in the Southeast Quadrant, again, especially with the regional tournament format where you're not guaranteed a spot in that state tournament. You got to earn it. You got to go through this double elimination format. Let's look at tomorrow, at least night's contest at Sundance. And, again, it will be at the host site as you will take on that Sundance team, the number 4 seed out of the Northeast Quadrant. We've seen it in Class 4A where these host sites, even though you can't really look at that number in front of their name, that home crowd finds a way to fuel that momentum for those home teams. Any concern right now with the Sundance and, again, playing them on their home court coming up tomorrow night?
Oh, there's always a concern. But we play road games all year, right? So that part of it's not a concern. It's just going in and taking care of what you know you can take care of. You might not shoot well, but your defensive effort and your defensive and offensive rebounding efforts are something that can go with you everywhere. So that's kind of what we're going to try and hang our hat on tomorrow. Is we can play good defense, get every board that we can get our hands on, and if we do that, we feel pretty confident in the outcome.
I like the word confidence. Again, your team has a swagger about them. They also have a bullseye in their chest as well, too. But you want that bullseye in your chest because, again, it keeps you fresh. Are you concerned, even though you took off a little bit early to beat the weather, that there could be a little bit of lag when they get onto the court, especially got the late game tomorrow night? On Thursday. Tell us a little bit. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tell me a little bit. Are you concerned a little bit of maybe that lag? Just from being away from home?
Yeah, a little bit for sure, but we try to practice around environments like that. You try and build that type of stuff into practice. Obviously, you can't replicate it, but you just got to be able to weather the storm, as we tell them. The first 4 minutes of any game, especially an away game, they're going to come out fired up, possibly shooting well, flying around, playing really good basketball. So you just got to weather that bit of it, and then let yourself get into the flow of the game, and just play basketball after that.
Coach, let's preview tomorrow night's contest against the Sundance team. Again, number 4 out of the Northeast Quadrant. What do we know about this Sundance team? Again, where we know Pine Bluffs, you're a team that's got unbelievable height, veteran talent. You got the speed, you got the size. What do we know about the Sundance team that you're going to pose tomorrow night?
Well, last time we played them, they played really well. They shot pretty good, and they out-rebounded us by like 16 or something. We ended up winning, but they play very sound, fundamental basketball. They can break the press, they can make free throws, and they can knock down open shots. So, they're a quality opponent. They're a very good team, well coached. Their fans will be loud.
Tyler, real quick, looking at you along with the Bighorn Rams as the number 1 seeds, and again, I'll take that at face value. Let's just say those number 1 seeds move on. Who out of that pack? Again, whether it's a 2, and usually we always see a 3 that sneaks in, but tell me right now, who's that dark horse team to keep our eye on in this tournament?
Oh, Wright has been playing really well. Wright and Lingle, I would say. I think Wright's the 3 seed from the north, and Lingle's a 2 seed from our conference. They play each other first round, but Wright has beat Tongue River once, and I think they took Bighorn down to the wire the second time they played. So Wright or Lingle, I think, they're two very good ball clubs.
Does Burns have enough gas in the tank to defeat the Eagles?
I think Burns can challenge them if they're so athletic, so that they use their length and keep them in front, and make the Eagles hit some outside jumpers. They can keep that a close game.
Well, Coach, we wish you all the best, and hopefully we get that opportunity because we will be in Casper covering the 4A East Regional over at Casper and Trona. Hopefully we'll get a chance and get some Hornets games on of state championship. We'll be there coinciding with your team, so I'm looking forward to seeing you up in Casper here, hopefully in another week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Tyler Kimzey joining us here, 1480 K-Ray. Are we keeping it here, Nick?
Yeah, we'll keep it here. Again, we talked plenty about the upcoming weekend that is for basketball. Again, obviously weather playing a bit of a factor. Again, we know teams are up there in their sights, again, for the 1A, 2A regional tournaments. But, again, the issue right now is officials getting to those games. That is kind of the concern. So, again, we'll see if these games do get underway coming up tomorrow, at least afternoon and evening across the state. Again, it's not just here in the 2A East. Again, it's the entire state of Wyoming that is in effect of this blizzard and winter storm warning that has hit us. So
well,
again,
the holiday's throwing me off.
Well, and again, it's also too a storm that is still going on. So again, still dumping snow here in the state. So again, we'll keep an eye on what the situation is. Again, speaking of which, we already know one cancellation or at least one postponement for a game. LCCC was set to play at least tomorrow night, host Northwest College, the Lady Trappers and Trappers in town at Story Gymnasium. Instead, that game's now been pushed to February 28th, so next Tuesday at Story Gymnasium, again, due to the weather conditions.
Wasn't that sophomore night?
Yeah, that was sophomore night. Again, they were going to also give out the rings, the national title rings to the esports team. So, again, a lot of theatrics. Again, the end of the regular season for LCCC. So, again, we already have one postponement due to the weather conditions. We saw last night, and I guess we can get into it as we're on basketball. Cowboys in action, at least taking on Utah State at home at the AA. That game did get underway, did at least play. Wyoming, of course, did lose. Utah State did win. Again, Utah State, a quality team here in the Mountain West Conference.
Wasn't that without Jeff Linder last night?
Yeah, Jeff Linder, I do believe dealing with at least family health issues right now, so tending to that. So, again, all the respect and, again, well wishes to him and his family. So, understandable of him stepping away. We've had two coaches here for both basketball teams have to step away for family issues. Again, it was more so for on the women's side, Coach Azell stepped away because, again, her pregnancy. So, again, she had her her child. And again, now with Jeff Linder stepping away from the team, and again, we'll see when he does return back. But stepping away just due to, again, a health issue right now within his family. So, but either way, though, again, Cowboys still without the at least services of Jeff Linder at the helm. Still can't get it done against Utah State. Didn't expect them to defeat the Aggies, but again, the woes continue on for the Cowboys that are going to limp on in.
Team's done. It's done.
Yeah, and the issue right now for the Cowboys, and it was something that was announced yesterday, or again, social media posted it, again, plenty for the various Cowboy sites, that a commitment for the Wyoming Cowboys basketball decommitted yesterday as well, too, with the situations going on in Laramie. So we got players that are stepping away from, or at least were removed from the athletic program. We'll see who returns next season for the Cowboys. And we already got commits that are already decommitting. Things are starting to get a little serious right now for Wyoming.
We already know. Well, let's put it this way. I'm not even speculating. I'm going to come right out and say, the one that we were waiting for to come back, he won't be back. I know he won't.
Graham EK, will he enter the transfer portal?
Yes.
You got to figure that he's going to. Right now, what promises, what hope, or again, what's
the future look
what's
like?
the future look like right now for next season for the Wyoming Cowboys? It's pretty bleak and dark right now that this team might go through, even if they're healthy next season, they're not going to be at the top of the heap, or at least anticipated at the top of the heap as they were this season. Again, this season, this was a highly anticipated Cowboys team to do some damage. Obviously, you get injuries. That's completely out of their realm. But this is a season that no coach wants to deal with regarding the injuries. But again, let's look over the past couple of weeks. You removed your USC and UCLA players for various reasons, and now again you got a few commitments that are now decommitting from your program. The losses keep on mounting up. You got the worry right now of, again, your superstar that may not return next season. Again, for Cowboy basketball, it is dark and bleak for the future, and hopefully it turns around or something positive eventually comes out for the Wyoming Cowboys, because right now it's not here over the past couple months right now for the Wyoming Cowboys.
Yeah, again, I kind of liken the Cowboys to the Oakland A's. You play a season, you want to move on. You know, it's like, why stay here? And again, nobody wants to go through what Coach Linder went through. Gosh, again, you don't wish this on your worst enemy, but it's things that happen. It's part of the game, okay? But then you have the outside factors that are going on right now. And again, you're sitting there not saying that Jeff Linder's in total control, because he is. The thing is, don't really want to come to Laramie and play.
No.
Look at their numbers this year. Do I want to play before very few fans?
And obviously,
because he's going to have to win back the fans.
The weather has not helped as well.
I
to get over
understand
the
that. It's been a tough winter. But my point is, though, Coach Linder is going to have to win right away next season to win back the fans.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again,
and that's the locals.
The emphasis, or at least that kind of, hey, we can let you get away and slide with a few things. That kind of marriage period, or at least that honeymoon period, is over right now for Coach Linder and, again, Cowboy fans, where, yes, you got a taste of winning last season. It was an unbelievable run. You're hoping for it this season. You did it. If anything, this was one of the worst seasons, or at least turnarounds, for the Cowboys. Yeah, there's going to be heavy pressure on Jeff Linder for next season to, again, come out of the box, win big, and make some statement victories, whether it is non-conference or, again, within the Mountain West Conference. It's something that, yeah, again, is Coach Linder after this season on the hot seat in the athletic department? No. Next season, if he struggles, I think that's where you start turning up the flame a little bit on Coach Linder of, again, will he return, or, again, what's going to happen with him at the helm of the Cowboys. So, again, you give him a pass without a doubt this season. If things go sour next year, you got to imagine that again, that magnifying glass is going to intensify on Jeff Linder of, again, his performance and what you do moving forward with the Wyoming Cowboys. But, again, as I've reached out, again, hopefully we will talk with Coach Linder at a point in time here before the end of the regular season, or at least, post-season play for the Mountain West Conference tournament. Also, too, have reached out to AD Tom Berman as well, too, to get his thoughts. Do want also, too, again, when we hopefully get that opportunity to speak with AD Tom Berman, going back to those, again, those three athletes that were moved from the program, again, the USC and the UCLA transfers, there was a lot of swirl on social media. And, again, it was coming from family members and parents of the players that were, I'll use the term, kind of accusing Cowboy fans of tossing out death threats. There was rumor that, again, those athletes were escorted by Laramie Police and, again, Sheriff's Office to, again, escort them off the campus and get them on flights to get them away from the situation. Again, nothing has been confirmed by the athletic department, again, from at least internal emails or, again, notifications. Nothing has been confirmed, but, again, heavy accusations where we've seen those accusations in the past, especially regarding football, by, parents or, again, players themselves that have, some have been true, some have been false. Not sure the validity of this situation. You want to side on this you want to side with the parents, where again you expect that they're telling the truth, that hey, their sons were in danger, or at least had that threat against their lives. But we'll see, or at least see if Wyoming eventually addresses that at a point in time to at least say, hey, this was true or was it not? And again, are Cowboy fans a little too passionate at some point in time? Yeah, I could see a situation like that. Other fan bases have done it as well, too. You're going to have those oddball, those goofballs that pull a stunt like this, which, again, is inexcusable. But, again, would it shock me if this was true? Not really. Again, would it shock me if the parents were lying about this? Not really as well, too.
No.
Again, to
what
garner
do
some
they
sort of
have
sympathy.
to gain? But again, too, you say Cowboy fans. And I'm going to look right at you, Nick, and say, what Cowboy fans? The AA-has been pretty barren throughout 2023. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not wrong.
You have Cowboy fans that, again, are sitting idle and just kind of poo-pooing the season, or, again, we'll say it. It's kind of on the fault of fans out in this part of the world, again, whether it is down in Denver, same with Colorado, with CSU, here with the Wyoming Cowboys, that, again, it's a fair weather fan base out here where, again, teams, if they're not winning, you're not showing up. Again, look with the Rockies, look with CU football, look with CSU football, look with Wyoming Cowboy football, again, any athletic sport. That, again, if your team's not winning, you're not showing up. It is a fair weather fan base out here, and, again, they may say they're Cowboy fans, but they're not going to show up to those games or put in the effort or the money or the time to go to those games. So it is what it is. So.
Well, like I said, when I had the opportunity to watch a couple of the games, a lot of brown seats, dressed as fans. So a lot of fans don't have any room to pop off. And again, be there.
And again, are these accusations true? We can't confirm or deny it. Again, we will see what comes
and again,
out
too,
about
you look
it,
at today's student athlete, especially at the collegiate level, they are given so many passes. And again, here you come to Wyoming. You left UCLA, and you get to come to Wyoming, and you get to be an impact player right away. Okay?
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake. Now you're leaving after getting here for a year.
Well, removed. Let's make that terminology
I know,
again.
But
removed
again,
from the program.
what I'm saying though is you can pack up and leave anytime you want. Students that go to the University of Wyoming, students, not athletes, they're there. They're putting in their 4 years of time and they're spending X amount of dollars. These guys are coming in, and it's not costing them a penny.
Well, to some that it might be walk on or again got a partial scholarship.
I'm talking about the ones that entered the transfer portals and come in here. They're not. It's not costing them out of pocket, is it?
I don't know what your point is regarding
My
that.
point
but
is,
it's
I think if there are those type of fans out there, it's the jealousy, the animosity towards these student athletes because, hey, they can come and go as they please. I got to be here every day.
I don't know if that's what prompts death threats, so to
I
speak.
didn't say
against,
I'm not talking about the death
threats.
I'm just talking about how fans can be fickle. Okay?
No, fans are fickle, again, of wins and losses. I don't think it's regarding any of the athletes. It's more so of, again, wins and losses. If your team's losing, again, you're not going to show up. So that's, again, is there animosity? Because, again, some teenager gets a full ride scholarship? Not really. Again, I feel like that's just idiotic logic right there.
I think they're privileged.
No.
I believe the student athlete, especially with the way the NCAA.
I mean, yeah, without a doubt, they're privileged, but it's something that, again, is that what prompts fans to not show up to games? Because, again, they have an opportunity because, again, they were a talented athlete in their high school ranks, and, again, schools want to do it. Not really. Again, we've seen athletes like this, not even just here in the 2000s, but, again, go back, years ago, where obviously the NIL helps out a lot, again, with the money opportunity. But, again, scholarships have existed since, athletics have been born. It's something that it's been going on, and again, I just find it as it's stupid logic to think that, again, fans are turning their backs on a team because, I think this player is privileged.
Well, and again, anybody I'm mad at the group in Kansas City. I think they have messed this up entirely, and again too, I think they should go back to the old formula. And again, this is not talking about the guys that were removed from the team. If you want to come to the University of Wyoming, you're not happy at USC, for argument's sake here, you got to sit out a year. I think you just can't bend the rules anymore. And Kansas City has allowed that to happen.
Now you're getting in a different topic.
I know.
You're kind of going away
into
from things. But again, regarding the transfer portal, again, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, transfer portal, highly abused. It's something ridiculous.
It's a joke.
Something needs to absolutely go from college athletics. Yeah, it doesn't punish you for, again, your original commitment of a program where, again, that's your decision. You know what comes into it. Hey, if your team's all of a sudden losing, well, again, find a way to, again, be that key piece to, again, win for your team, or at least rally around to, again, get them in a better spot. Yeah, transfer portal, complete joke. It's something that needs to be retooled. I understand why it's there, but it's something that I think screws programs like Wyoming. Granted, it helped it, or it was supposed to, at least with those USC and UCLA transfers, but obviously didn't really pan out too much this season for them. But it hurts. It helps. It's something that, it vastly changes the landscape of college athletics, especially for football and basketball, in a big way. And it is something that I have an issue with, and we'll see if they address. The NIL, which we again briefly talked about, NIL had to happen. Likeness rights, again, where we go back to the old video games, whether, again, NCAA football, which, again, is supposed to return, likeness of, again, faces on T-shirts, again, having those opportunities for those athletes to make money while they're in those positions where, again, it is a business. Let's be honest, with college athletics, it's a business. Again, these universities make absolute millions of dollars on their athletes by selling merchandise, by selling this or that. The NIL, it was a great idea. It hurts smaller universities or areas that, again, can't really afford the multi-million-dollar deals, without a doubt. But, were those universities before the NIL going to get a 5-star, 4-star recruit? No, not really. So, again, it doesn't change a whole lot. But, again, where I say transfer portal needs to go away, hurts athletics. NIL, as we're seeing right now, it's benefiting the athletes and have no issue. And, it's something that had to happen.
All right, this is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We are going to take a break, be right back, and get into the final half hour of our program right here on 1480 K-Ray.
For nearly 30 years, family-owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community with quality and customer satisfaction. It's a pretty simple drill. When you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body for an appointment at 307-634-6608. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
1480 K-Ray is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 K-Ray features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 K-Ray, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480kray.com.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 $15 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber at your service all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Guadalajara at 1745 Del Range Boulevard. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Well, the wise for today, snow and cold with a winter weather advisory in effect through tonight. Expect a daytime high near 4 degrees. Total daytime snow accumulation of 3 to 5 inches possible. Tonight it's going to be cloudy with a pretty good chance of snow this evening, then gradually becoming partly cloudy after midnight. Our low dropping down to 15 degrees below zero. And for tomorrow, Thursday, increasing clouds. Look for a daytime high near 13 degrees. We welcome you back to the Pro Show. Again, thank you to Victoria Matiash, who, again, with ESPN.com, NHL writer, and Pucks for Seven podcast as she joins us. We haven't talked to her in a long time. It was just so wonderful to talk with her in the 11 o'clock hour. Recently, Tyler Kimzey, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets as they get ready for 2A East Regionals. And, again, just, close the door on it because we do want to talk Super Bowl and look ahead towards the 2024 Super Bowl. This is their tournament to lose. I mean, you look at the numbers.
The only team that's going to challenge them, without a doubt, is going to be
Bighorn.
Bighorn. But yeah, Pine, they should be that number one seed out of the East. We should see them again in the state tournament. Out of the 4 county teams, again in Class 2A,
2 maybe.
2 at best 3 can make it to that state tournament. You feel confident. I think both Pine teams can make it. Again, girls and boys basketball. Burns, Lady Bronx maybe have a good shot. Boys, I'm souring a bit on that team, but Lady Bronx have an opportunity. So we'll see after, again, how this weekend shapes up. We'll know our schedule, again, regarding at least our regional tournament for Class 4A up there at Natrona County for next week, which, again, I think we'll kind of make that statement right now where at least right now, Monday we won't have Caper reports due to the fact that I'll be down at least down in Denver with the Vegas Golden Knights contest. I think we'll kind of step away from the Pro Show for the next couple of weeks, again, as we'll have 3 straight days of basketball for, again, 2 weeks straight up there in Casper. So, again, that's a lot of basketball to save for both of our voices. So,
absolutely.
So I think for the Pro Show and Caper reports for the next couple of weeks, we'll take, again, those weeks off as we'll step back and focus our efforts to, again, the regional tournament and state tournament action back-to-back weekends up in Casper, Wyoming. So weather pending, all that fun stuff. So, that's kind of how things shape up here on 1480 K-Ray. Again, we didn't have a chance last Wednesday to have a show, again, due to the fact that, again, we had an East versus South at Story Gymnasium that day. So, again, no Pro Show to talk about and recap the Super Bowl. Again, I kind of alluded to it. I didn't care. I watched a little bit of it. I turned it off.
I was right. I had the right team. I had Kansas City, and I had the over. I knew this was going to be a high-scoring affair. I will say this about Kansas City, and agree or disagree. They are one of the best franchises that goes into the locker room at halftime. And as long as they're within shouting distance, they will come out and give you an excellent second half.
Well, I think
they've done it all
I think
season.
at half they've been behind this season about in 4 or 5 games and won them all. So it's something that they know how to adjust. They know how to come back and win. So give them credit. Again, the Kansas City Chiefs, we know it's a making of a dynasty. Second championship in a couple seasons for them. Again, they've been to three at least Super Bowls. It's something that Kansas City, will they be back next season? You got to imagine. You got to imagine that.
There's 4 teams in the conversation right now. And surprisingly enough, those that are fans of Josh Allen, not in the conversation.
No.
It's the Bengals, the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. Those are the 4 teams being discussed.
Which are your final 4 that were a part of the championship
So
games.
basically everything looks like it's going to remain intact.
Who will be the teams coming up next season? Again, to be determined, especially with a lot of offseason moves pending. Again, the 49ers situation where, again, they're going to be looking for a quarterback where right now the surgery for Brock Purdy is still pending. I think inflammation now on his elbow, which is kind of preventing him from working on it. So, again, that timeline gets pushed even further back right now for Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. Not sure if he's healthy. Who knows with the Jimmy G situation with the 49ers. But, again, there's a lot of offseason moves pending that could a team vault themselves up into, again, one of those top 4 spots and take out a Eagles, Niners, Cincinnati team. Again, to be determined, which is going to be a very hot offseason. Draft, not so much. Again, draft right now, and again, even for Bronco fans, the draft really isn't moving the needle. There's not that player that, again, that rookie that's going to have that immediate impact, or it doesn't have that feel.
It's the kid out of Florida right now that has moved kind of to the top of the charts. Indianapolis rumored to trade with Chicago to get that number 1 pick.
Yeah, who knows who's going to go
need a quarterback,
and who knows who's going to go after that number 1 pick. Again, Chicago is kind of dangling out there saying, "Hey, we don't really need it." So again, that is the storyline of the draft. Outside of that, it's pretty much of, you'll see who you pick up, and outside of that, it's all right. Let's see if they pan out for the future. There's no immediate impact guy, in my opinion, for this year's draft. But again, the offseason is the key factor. 49ers, I'm souring a bit on our team just due to the fact that, again, this QB situation is concerning, especially where Brock Purdy, you got to imagine he was the guy.
Yeah,
he earned that job.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Johnson got the boot. He's out of there, right?
Yeah.
So they're down to 3. And Jimmy G, again, even Shanahan has said to the effect that Jimmy G won't be there next season. So
we'll see. Again, they've said that how many years in a row now, but they still keep the guy on. So again, with this added injury to Brock Purdy, does that put him now in the mode of we got to keep Jimmy G on because we have no other option? Who knows? Who really knows? Again, this offseason is one of the biggest in NFL recent kind of memory of who's going to move where. Again, there's so many talented weapons that are available on the market that teams are going to vie for.
And it's interesting with Brock Purdy getting Tommy John surgery for football. I mean, we only hear that in baseball.
And a rogue injury that happened to him again in the NFC Championship game, it's tough.
Yeah. So, again, like I said, the 4 teams, though, are in the conversation. Bengals, Chiefs, Philly, San Francisco. On the outside, it looks like it's Dallas.
Dallas, yeah, but who knows what they do. Again, will they move on from Ezekiel Elliott? Will they move on from Dak? There is heavy rumors right now that both of those pieces might be on their way out. That Dallas is QB shopping around. Dallas, I think, kind of vaulted themselves as a potential for a Jimmy G trade. We'll see what happens there.
Interesting move, to interrupt you. Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy moves on as the OC of the Washington Commanders. Interesting. And again, I sat here and said, with him or Byron Leftwich, are they head coaching material? Because again, they're offensive coordinators.
Well, Leftwich kind of shot himself with, again, being in the situation that he was with Tampa. So, and again, we talked with at least Cody Roark about the coaching situation right now in the NFL a couple weeks ago, saying, again, neither of those guys were really head coaching candidates as of right now.
But the Commanders for Bieniemy?
I don't know. Commanders who had a decent season, or it's better than what it's been for Washington, but I guess obviously Washington probably gave him a better deal or better money than what KC did, but yeah, surprising move there where Washington, especially in that East, is not doing any damage anytime soon, where again you're looking up to, again, the Eagles, to the Cowboys, to the Giants, who did a lot better this season. So it's a tough division, but we'll see what happens on that. Denver Broncos, I know that they're filling defensive coordinator spots. Again, at least rumor right now, I think he interviewed for it about a couple days ago. Vance Joseph might make his triumphant return back to Denver after, again, the interesting years. And again, no issue with Vance Joseph. I'm on that pedestal saying Vance Joseph was in a bad situation. He was in a tough situation when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. He was doomed to fail, kind of similar to Lovie Smith with the Houston Texans. It's something that he was doomed to fail. I don't think the fan base hates Vance Joseph. I think the fan base recognizes that he was in a tough spot. And give him credit. Yeah, that defense, even though under his time as a head coach, was still pretty solid. Again, if I'm a Broncos fan, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him on as a defensive coordinator.
Wash, rinse, repeat. Again, okay.
Your other option, option that's been tossed out. Again, he was tossed to be on for the 49ers. 49ers did find their guy for defensive coordinator.
All right.
But again, Vic Fangio is another name right now.
And
that
again,
was tossed out.
Why? That's my question. You're going to tell me these, and again, nothing against Vance Joseph. He did well as a DC when he left.
He did the best that he could with a crap situation.
I know, but again, and Vic Fangio. Again, why are we rinsing and repeating?
Again, nothing's guaranteed. Again, they've interviewed.
I understand it, but the Bronco Nation does not want to hear former coaches coming back. Again, we tried it with Gary Kubiak, and I use that. Gary Kubiak came back, and it didn't work the second time around. So again, there's got to be younger and better talent out there, or somebody. Again, let's look at how the 49ers, you developed from your own system, right? You mean the Broncos don't have anybody in their own system that's worthy enough to take over the DC position?
Well, again, that's up to Sean Payne of what he wants to do. And again, it sounds like he wants to go with
his old staff too.
Yeah, he's got his old staff, and again, he wants kind of the proven vets that have been in the league to at least be a part of his staff. So again, we'll see as those slots start to get filled under Sean Payton right now. But again, it's tossed. It's been interviewed. We'll see if they land a Vance Joseph or a Vic Fangio, or again where those two land right now. Cardinals finally got their head coach guy, who again looks like a complete goofball.
It's too bad because Cardinals were starting to really amp up that program.
I don't know how bad it is. Again, good.
Yeah, but
I don't.
Bruce
Again,
Arians,
especially in our division.
But they were. I know, but they were starting to ramp it up a little bit, and I think it was a Wiz and Hunt.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, let's just throw it out the window. It's like, well, working for the Bidwell family, forget about it.
Well, the NFC West is in an interesting spot where right now, again, Kyle Shanahan's kind of your mainstay guy in that division right now with the 49ers, especially what he has done with this franchise. Pete Carroll, who knows when he's going to be on the way out? He's aging right now. Who knows if he might call it a career sometime soon in the next couple of seasons. McVay with the Rams, again, they had their Super Bowl championship, really fell off from last season. Arizona, again, they were on a milk carton, and Arizona's got a lot of issues. With the new guy that they hired on, don't expect that the Cardinals are going to be relevant.
And Seattle, Pete Carroll's getting to be, 100 years old? But here's the other deal.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah.
The other thing, too, with the 49ers, similar to the Avalanche, John Lynch has been the guy for the 49ers. He has been the troubleshooter guy. He's been the guy who's offered the monies. He's the guy who's been filling positions. What's been good about that, and you will agree with me, the Yorks, and especially the president of that organization.
Well, thankfully,
thankfully
Jed York is kind of stayed out of meddling.
Yeah.
Where again we saw previous in the early 2000s, where again if you go back to the situation with Mike Singletary, when again he was the head coach, Jed York was really involved with that. That's where again for Bronco fans, who knows what the situation with the Waltons are going to be, where they want to return on their investment. They want this team to be profitable, which it can be. Again, we know that it's a strong fan base when they are winning. Are the Waltons a family, or at least is that an ownership group to worry about that's going to meddle with business? Or again, they're gonna make the decisions.
I hope they learn from the York situation. I remember that press conference many years ago where Jed said, "Well, should I fire myself? Who was the first one to raise their hand? Me. Yeah. You need to fire yourself. You stink." Again, with the Walton family, right now, it's one of those, took a pass last season. Okay, everything was changing around, yada, yada, yada.
Well, again, changing of the guard where, again, you were dealing with a
right.
familiar, again, the King family that was the ownership.
You got Sean Payton in there now. You got that top name. Let Sean decide who he wants.
And that's what it sounds like is going on. Is Sean is kind of taking the reins of this franchise, or at least of his team, that thankfully, again, John Elway is, again, John Elway is right now just a face in the franchise. He's just there to kind of smile
and shake
hands. That's about it. Thankfully, it sounds like he's kind of avoiding those operations because, again, we go back when he was GM of this franchise, things were in pretty dire straits. Granted, they're still in dire straits, but that those ramifications, that ripple effect is still being felt even this past season by the decisions by one John Elway.
Well, and again, too, you look back when Ellis was the president, and then Bolin family after Pat had passed away, and then there was the squabble between the daughter-son. Daughter took over. Daughter was a big fan of John Elway. Didn't really want to shove him aside. And again, there had to be not at the top, but that intermediary. There must have been just argument after argument.
I get where the Bolin family's coming from with having John Elway as your GM. Again, we talked about it with hockey with the Avalanche, where, again, look at Joe Sakic, putting him in that position where, again, obviously paid dividends for them. It's a familiar face, and it gets that fan base excited where, hey, here's a guy that led you to success. He believes in this franchise. He's bleeding this franchise's blood right now that, he again, in theory, it's a good idea for John Elway, but so far what we've seen, even though, again, he's out of that role, when he was in that role, it was, sorry, this guy is making all sorts of bad decisions.
But he did get a Super Bowl as general manager. So, again, really, he's in the Hall of Fame as a player, could get in the Hall of Fame as a GM.
No.
Again, they had prior success with John Elway, and that's bringing in Peyton Manning.
It was a flash of the pan where, again, you got lucky with that signing of Peyton Manning. And again, right, you had one Super Bowl, but that was about it. Outside of that, again, tenure for John Elway is more so kind of mired in controversy of the bad decisions made on the field. So, again, who has a chance to be in a Hall of Fame, at least as a GM, John Lynch or, again, John Elway? Give me John Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
He's proven himself as, again, making this franchise. And that's the thing. It's been consistent. As everyone's written off the 49ers, or it's something that it's a ragtag bunch, they've developed into, again, a team that has been into how many NFC Championship games over the past couple of years, made it to a Super Bowl, that they've had success, even with odds against them, especially with all the recent injuries that have plagued this team throughout many seasons now. So, but again, John Elway as a Hall of Famer GM, no.
But where you tip your cap right now, and I think you'll agree with me, is to the Hunt family in Kansas City, because they
got a dynasty.
Yeah, and it's almost like every peg on that board, they Tyreek Hill, he's been traded. Oh no, Kansas City's going to fall a notch. Mahomes is not the quarterback that he was when he was first. I mean, it was like they threw all these intangibles out. And this team...
Well, Kansas City definitely, I think going into this season, as the season went on in the playoffs, were definitely overshadowed by the likes of Cincinnati, by the likes of, again, Buffalo. Buffalo heavily talked about of being that Super Bowl contender team. It was Super Bowl or bust this season for Josh Allen and company. But, again, Kansas City kind of floated under the radar. Give them credit where I wouldn't say folks wrote them off, but didn't really put them in the same conversation as Cincinnati or Buffalo or other contenders in the AFC.
But they were still expected to win the AFC West.
Yeah.
By most accounts.
Yeah, I would say so. Again, yeah, I would say that there was a contender early on, and I remember that L.A. was a favorite. Again, going back to that USA Today poll, or at least they put out their early predictions, they had the Chargers winning the Super Bowl this season. So, obviously, they were well off, even though Chargers at least made it to the playoffs. But, yeah, Kansas City, it's a team you can't write off. They're a full, complete package. Will they be back in the Super Bowl next year? Got to figure that they are. Feel pretty damn confident to say that they will.
I give them a 1-in-4 chance that they'll be, because I guarantee you
Who knows?
They'll be in that championship game.
I
stay healthy.
I think Cincinnati gives them a run for their money as they did in the AFC Championship game this season. Obviously, again, controversy abound in that game, and again, same with the at least least with the Super Bowl as well too. But it's something that Cincinnati will contend for that crown in the AFC. Who knows right now with Buffalo? What is the state of the Bills right now, where you've been building, hype is there, the expectation is there for the Bills to make it that Super Bowl. You fell vastly short of that expectation this season. This is now a scenario where you're starting to see fans kind of get a little rogue on the situation with Josh Allen. Again, we're here for us, as we've seen him with the Wyoming Cowboys, going, hey, that arm is definitely inaccurate. But it does play a factor in these postseason.
He's beloved in Buffalo and Diggs.
I think, again, you're starting to see fans, not the whole fan base, but you're starting to see fans kind of sour a little bit, going, question of his skill.
Where are they weak at? Where do you think the Bills are weak? Is it the running game?
I think offensive
line. So, again, are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be drafters?
They gotta be buyers.
Yeah.
If they're sellers, that'd be unbelievable. The draft, I don't think, is really their concern. I think Buffalo, San Francisco, who else? Buffalo, San Francisco. I'm trying to think of anyone out of the North. But those two teams come to my mind where they're going to be buyers. That these are franchises that want to win now. That are in position to win now. That, again, the fan bases are starting to basically question of, okay, we've gotten to AFC championship games. We've gotten to NFC championship games. We want to get back to the Super Bowl. We want to win that Super Bowl. Again, the 49ers have had two opportunities in the 2000s, have failed, have lost to Kansas City, have lost to Baltimore. This is a fan base that, again, has 5 championship rings, wants to add a 6.
I think Jacksonville's going to be buyers too, Nick. They seem to throw a lot of money around.
Jacksonville.
They got that taste. They got that taste of the playoffs.
I think Jacksonville's issue right now, where they need weapons for Trevor Lawrence. They need an offensive line. And if they can do that, if they can buy into that, then all right, give them respect out of the AFC South. Where again, the AFC South, Houston's not going to turn it around. Sorry. Indy, You look with the situation with the Tennessee Titans. They were expected to win that division, and
they fell right at
yeah. So Jacksonville right now in the AFC South are in a prime position to take and win that division because, again, it's so weak down there. But we'll see what they do.
Yeah, and you know what really sucks and really upsets me because, again, I go back to the old Al Davis days and, again, living out in the East Bay area. It's like the Raiders. Mark Davis, he's lost control. I understand parting ways with Derek Carr. What are they going to come up with?
I have no idea. Mark Davis, who was a goofball who shaved his head recently, got rid of his haircut.
And again, too, with the Raiders, Carr, scapegoat 1. B,
I don't think he was a scapegoat. It was something that, I think the Raiders right now, especially being in Las Vegas, where Vegas is spoiled right now with the Vegas Golden Knights of their success. I think it's a fan base that's putting that pressure on Mark Davis, saying, hey, we're winning here in hockey, win here now in football.
With the Raiders, though, look at how many games they lost right there towards the tail end this past season. But my point is, where are they weak at? Are they weak in the secondary? Are they weak at linebackers? Are they weak along the line? Are they weak with receivers?
I think they're weak everywhere.
Okay.
I think plain and simple for the Raiders, they're weak everywhere.
Is Davis going to spend money? That's the question. Will he spend the money? Does he go after
He's got the money, but
go after a Jimmy G?
Maybe.
Why?
I don't know. Again, that Raiders franchise is so hard. It's so hard.
Upside down.
Again, it's hard to figure out what the Davis family wants to do, whether it was Al or now with Mark. It's something that with the Raiders, they got that opportunity. They got that money. They got the brand new, beautiful stadium there at the heart of the Strip in Las Vegas that the fan base wants a winner. They're not getting it. They did put the blame on Derek Carr. Derek Carr has been released. Let's make note of that. Again, that release came about last week. So, again, Derek Carr is not a part of this Raiders franchise. Where do they go? Again, they have opportunities, whether it is Jimmy G, whether it is Aaron Rodgers, whether it is a potential of Lamar Jackson.
No, I think Lamar's going to stay in Baltimore. What I'm hearing is that it's
kind of mixed right now. Again, out there in Baltimore, where it sounds like the ownership group wants to move on.
Let me say this to Mark Davis. Mark, you're nowhere near Al, and what you need to do is turn it over. Back in the day, you look back at Al Davis. He had a guy. His name was Locasal, Art Locasal, if I remember. This is back when Johnny Madden was the head coach. He was the guy, that buffer guy, who was making decisions and helping out Al Davis. Mark Davis is trying to do it on his own. Mark's a moron, and he's going to kill the Raiders franchise. Right now, I put Denver ahead of the Raiders right now.
I think the Raiders are, as a franchise, in a better position than they were a couple seasons ago out there in Oakland. I think they're a lot better again with that $1 billion stadium again in Las Vegas in front of a fan base that's still committed to them even as they're dealing with it. I think honestly the franchise is in a better spot, even though again the wins are not there. It's in a better spot in Vegas than it was in Oakland. Speaking of which, as well too, again I think this came out a couple weeks ago, and again we have not talked about it again as baseball's kind of secondary right now, or at least it was. Now as we get towards spring training, Oakland A's looking like not staying in Oakland anymore. The rumor is, as we've known and we talked about it, and it seems like the steps are moving forward even vastly, that A's might be in Las Vegas as well too. So again, 2 Oakland teams making that transition to Sin City to at least make home there. So again, we'll see what happens.
And don't think Vegas is going to be done there. NBA's next, because they want all 4. They want all 4 professional sports. And even Victoria made a very good point. You wearing that Vegas jersey right now. Vegas is worldwide. Yeah. Okay? And again, you don't come just to Las Vegas to gamble. You want to make sure you catch a night's game on the ice at T-Mobile Arena. T-Mobile Arena, now you know as well as it's beautiful.
Yeah, again, I've been in that. I was there for the soft opening for that building, again, when I lived out there. So, I've experienced everything about Vegas, especially the new Vegas, where, again, it's now becoming a sports mecca, whether it is with the Golden Knights and their recent success. The Vegas Aces on the WNBA side, where, again, they built a powerhouse team that they've won a championship. The Las Vegas Raiders are in town, but, again, the benefit for that is you're getting fans to go to those games just to check out that brand-new, beautiful stadium. And, again, let's be honest. Again, I've seen that from the outside, being up close to that stadium, where, again, I live near where it was just a dirt field back in the day. It's something that stadium is bringing a lot of eyes and ears and attraction to it, again, of just how beautiful and unique it is.
And it's benefited UNLV.
Yeah.
Think about that, too, where UNLV now might, from a football standpoint, where they've been kind of the doormats. Well, this season they kind of peeked their head above ground a little bit. Yeah. And that's going to attract more of that 4-5-star recruit to come out to Vegas because of that facility. Sam Boyd Stadium was not a bad place. But
it wasn't great.
Yeah, but it's not a bad place. But again,
and also too, it was tough being all the way the far east side of town on the mountain. So either way, it does benefit. So we'll see again with the Raiders, and again this NFL offseason, it's going to be interesting to see what moves are done. Again, who goes where, and again who kind of comes out of that woodwork out of the 4 teams we mentioned of who's a potential perennial contender on top of that.
Mark Davis, first thing you need to do: step away, shut your mouth. Don't be a general manager. Yeah. You can't even be an owner. First off, you're not even an owner.
We're at the top of the hour.
But again, you got to get somebody in there that's solid, that can make good moves. Let them have the pocketbook. Give them the checkbook, and let them make some moves for you in the offseason. All right.
We wanted to get into NBA news. Russell Westbrook again moved on from the Lakers to the Clippers and all that good
Durant's
stuff. But
gone.
We'll talk about it again in a couple weeks. Again, we're no pro show for the next 2 weeks. Same with Carrier Reports. As again, we'll focus up on regional tournament action up there in Casper, and again the week after that, back up to Casper for the state tournament for 4A action, specifically up there. So, but reminding coming up this Friday night, tentative right now. Again, we've seen cancellations of school. We've seen postponements of events. So we will see if we still get this underway, which again we should, and weather is going to improve by Friday, but how the roads are, again, to be determined. But as of right now, again, Friday, 6 and 7:30, East versus Central at Story Gymnasium, girls and boys action. Live from Story Gymnasium, as I mentioned, again, 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRay.com on the audio side. And video live streaming as we do on the 1480KRay YouTube channel. Go give us a subscribe and a like on our videos. We appreciate that. Yes, East Central to end of the regular season this Friday night. Tentative 6 and 7:30 at Story Gymnasium. We'll be there.
And don't forget to join us for the repeat of our program today. We will have it for you from 4 until 6 p.m. Also, 8 o'clock tonight, we will have the Golden Age of Radio Theater. Nick? On tap.
I was going to say, I think you can handle it. 8 until 10 o'clock. 2 programs of the All-Star Western Theater. 2 programs of Meet the Press, the old interviews of, again, historic figures from, again, the 50s and 60s. So tune into that. So, again, 8 until 10 o'clock. Again, tonight and tomorrow night, as, again, it's Monday through Thursday. So, again, tune in for Golden Age Radio, 8 until 10.
Thank you for joining us right here on 1480 K-Ray. Yes, it is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We return to regular programming right now on 1480 K-Ray.